Okay, it says we're live. Apologies for being slightly late. I got the poll started, which took a minute because I had to fiddle with a couple of the character count options. So, or some of the options character count. I will try and rephrase that. So yeah. Ooh, Monique said an exciting point. You're going to start drafting today. Ooh, yes. So you're starting on the 15th. Is your goal to have the first draft like done by the end of the month? Do you have like a deadline for that for yourself? I'm not saying you have to have it done by then. I'm just, do you have a deadline? Curious. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, Brain says that I need to get work on a particular story done. Brain also says I don't want to work on that particular story today. So Brain is a little confused. And we may have to hop between projects today simply because Brain is pulled in multiple directions. But today's also Monday, so that means trying to get set up for the rest of the week, trying to sort of like figure out and set the goals for the week. I probably should have done this last night, but well, it's fine. So setting up for the week, keeping in mind that I have essentially 3 days this week where things are not going to be like quote unquote normal because I've got physical therapy again twice this week. And then also this week on Friday, I'm not going to be here because Bestie has a day off because it's Juneteenth. And so, but the daycare is open. So she is able to have an adult day where she is off of work. And so we are going to go hang out at a Barnes & Noble and chat for hours and have coffee and wander around and look at books. So we have a bookstore date with Bestie on Friday, which is why I will not be here. So that is that. So I have 3 days this week that I'm not going to be like on normal schedule. However, that means I have to kind of like set up and get some things done during the like normal, during my non-normal hours. So I may have to get up a little bit earlier, squeeze in some writing before physical therapy on Tuesday and Thursday, so that I feel like I am productive on those days. So yeah. Anyway, so what are your plans / obstacles for the week? My obstacles are physical therapy, and I don't necessarily count the bookstore date with Bestie as like an obstacle. I feel like that's more refilling the creative well, right? But it does sort of interfere with the like typical time frames that I normally write. So, do you have anything lined up in terms of like that this week? Monique says, hey y'all, happy Monday to you. And this is where you said you're going to start Auntie of Honor today. Nice. I look really nice in blue. Thank you very much. It, like the one thing about having a like colorful glass frame is that it sort of, you have some clothes that it matches with. So yeah. But I should just accept the compliment. Thank you. Your goal is to be done by August or September. Gotcha. You're going for the 50K word count as your minimum. Nice. Diane says, hello. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Monique says you're going to write this particular novel in first person as in Rita's diary. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Monique says, have fun and write. Thank you. I will. Sounds like a great reason. Yes. It's going to be fun. Stacey says, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello. Welcome. Miss Hunter is here. Hi. How is everybody? You're going to be reading The Dying of the Light. Is this the next one or is this the same one that you're reading I think it's the next one, isn't it? The Dying of the Light by Derek Landy. Diane says, mine is not writer related, but you need to get some art on paper listed on the site. Yes. Yeah, that does happen. You do need to do the things after doing the art, which is also that seems like the same thing with editing a video. It's like you've done the thing, you videotaped it, and now you have to spend like hours editing it. And I'm assuming that it's the same sort of like you need to scan it, like tweak it in Photoshop or whatever, and put it listed on the website, make sure that the the overall balance looks good, make sure the order of the paintings looks good, like all that kind of. So I feel like I'd be very like fiddly and would take me personally hours. So Stace says, kind of an obstacle. The kids have swim lessons and the older wants to go to open swim like every day, but cannot get friends to come. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Now that summer's out, now that school is out for the summer, kids are wanting play dates, and play dates are often like sometimes harder than we would think. Because I remember like finally being free in the summertime, and then everybody was going on vacation to visit family in other states, like at different times. And so we were not able to make a whole bunch of play dates during the summertime. So Diane also has your art show reception on Saturday. Nice. It's going to be exciting. I hope you have a fantastic time. Monique says, man, I love researching settings. You just found a special ed school where Rita could work. Yay. Oh, nice. Excellent. Diane is putting together the mini brand bookshelves. Is that the one that I've seen people set up and then like shake and then reorder and then shake it again? Is that the right thing? I think so. Maybe. I don't know. Diane says, I have the images ready to go. You just need to put them in the store with descriptions, etc., and share availability on social media. Gotcha. Okay. So not quite as bad. Things are selling at the art show, so it's really good. Yes, it is really good. Excellent. Okay. We need some cats, and we need a card, and then we need to work, right? It's an anxiety-inducing activity. Yeah, feels like it. Okay, so we have the weekend kitty with a very smooshed face. It says, while I do crochet, I perform ballet, or as I watch a matinee, I dream of pate. So we have a little poet, little cat poet. Here we go. Maybe. Can't tell if that's a little less fuzzy or not. And then we have a floof ball. There's a little wallflower in everyone and a cute cuddle ball in just a few. Look at that. So fluffy. They're both super fluffy. Super fluffy and soft looking. Okay, Stacy has updated on your brother. The locks have been changed, okay, which means the X is out. X showed up 9 minutes before time. Ooh. And the bailiff was telling her to get going. He had another place to be. And she thinks she can come back to get more stuff. Oh, okay. I see. So they had an appointment with the bailiff and like a time window where she could come and get her stuff out, come get additional stuff out of the house before the locks were changed. So she showed up 9 minutes before the window ended, grabbed some stuff, left, and was going to come back later, but her window is up. Understood. Did your brother have security cameras? I hope so. because it feels like he's going to need them. Also, your brother picked up his car. Okay. Was this the one that she was driving when she hit him, or is this a different car? And like he's finally able to drive again. Monique says, speaking of ballet, there's a video going viral of a cat that crashed a ballet. Yes, I've seen this. They crashed the ballet production of Romeo and Juliet in Turkey. Yeah. So I've seen this, and the cat just lays down in front of Romeo and starts playing with his hair. Yeah, I saw that one. Apparently, Turkey has a lot of stray cats, especially in Istanbul. Yes, I have seen this as well, or heard of it and seen it in social media, not myself. So, if they were doing a theater production, that there totally would have been improv. So as far as I know, it wasn't in a theater, but young Romeo and Juliet were trying their best. It was, from what I could tell, it was a scene where Romeo had taken poison and Juliet woke up and was distraught and everything. And so, yeah, he does not have security cameras. Hopefully he gets some soon. He's supposed to set out her things and give her 24 hours to get them before taking them to the dump. Gotcha. Stacy told him he should put things out about a day and a half before trash day and then just walk it to the trash can after 24 hours. Some of that would work. Some of that, depending on county regulations and like what the trash people will take, may not get picked up. Or he might get an extra bill for it, type of thing. So they were doing ballet. Oh, okay. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. But yes, they were doing ballet, so they were not supposed to be talking. Yeah, because they're supposed to. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not elucidate. They're supposed to act it out physically. But there's a word I'm looking for in my brain, and it's not quite there on my tongue. He has to be nice as her. If he has to be nice, ask the 18-year-old if she wants to pick up her mom's things. Gotcha. Yeah. His car, the 18-year-old had taken for a joyride. Gotcha. Which is why we took the car and brought it to our place. The 18-year-old does not have her license. Oh, joy. More chaotic things. Oh boy. We're in a small town. I would take it out ASAP and pretend you know nothing about it, and then others will think you're giving it away. Yes. This is also something that will happen probably. Most of the things she left are things like clothes. Yeah. But even still, there will be some people who would want to like go through it and think it's a free. And hey, after 24 hours, he could definitely put up a sign that says free to a good home, So when he sets out, he's supposed to give her notice. I mean, yes. So, and if your brother is doing everything by the books, then it will benefit him in any legal things that go forward. So we do not want to jeopardize any of that potential. All right, let's. Diane says, well, she better hurry up, or Fred down the street will fill up his truck, right? Yes. Okay, so the poll today is about romantic conflicts. So in a romance or a romantic suspense or romantasy, any of that kind of stuff. There are there's always a romantic conflict, right? And most of those sort of fall into categories or tropes. And so I've listed sort of 4 category-ish things, options for what I feel like are pretty typical romantic conflict tropes. So miscommunication, opposing goals or life differences, family disapproval, sort of like feeling kind of like star-crossed lovers, or internal fear, past traumas, or commitment issues. So which of those do you prefer? Which of those is the least heinous to you, the least annoying? Because I know there are some on that trope, on that category / trope list that are among the top annoyances for some people, specifically miscommunication. So yeah. But yeah, so which one do you prefer? Which one is acceptable? Kara suggests putting things nicely into boxes or bags so it's easy to transport, either for her to take away or for him to take away once the 24 hours are up. True. Okay. So we have number 15. It's the cow. Miracles are endless. My hand is not steady at all today. Goodness gracious. Okay. Let's see if it's going to refocus. Yes. Okay. Gosh, you can see my hair is so fine. You can see right through it. To my, oh gosh. Oh well. Okay, so 15, cow spirit. Miracles are endless. You are at a beautiful point in your life today, for your needs are being met effortlessly and in so many ways. Fully embrace this truth by focusing on all you have right now, including the positive relationships that sustain you, the work you are proud to do to contribute to the world, and the activities that inspire you and nourish your soul. The cow spirit nudges you to pay attention because this is the perfect time to focus on the choices, actions, and behaviors that you know feed your soul and bring your heart contentment. Now is also a time when you will see many of your projects and commitments that were set in motion in the past begin to yield valuable gifts that will bring you joy and love and sustain you for a long time to come. Stay positive and share your well-being with others. The more you share, the more you will manifest, so be generous. The cow spirit promises you will never run out of miracles. So there you go. Okay, Stacey says, my top hated trope is age gap, like significant age gap. Yeah, okay, makes sense. We may talk about that later, because we've got one for Wednesday that is like the one you despise. But I don't think age gap is on there. But we can do another one. We can always do another one. But the second is soulmates between kids. Is that because if you feel like it is sort of like prematurely sexualizing the kids? Because I feel like I don't mind childhood sweethearts, like grown up. But I guess the like soulmates thing could be, yeah. Sarah said, Cara, goodness gracious, I can't read. Oh no. You're also following along with the Writer Sanctuary's Stream Hoppers Unite. Yes. Monique says, I pulled the High Priestess from the Buffy Tarot deck. Nice. Okay. So we did the card, we did the cats. Again, my brain is sort of torn between I need to work on this story, but also like, I don't really want to work on that story today. So I may hop around between projects. I may do that. Sorry. And I will be putting the clip back in eventually, but right now. Monique says, I seriously don't know how to approach the whole age gap discourse, because your grandmother married at 17, but this happened in the early 1900s. Yeah, and that is something that was typical of the time, and even younger sometimes. Stacy says, I read a story and they had to find their soulmate before they turned 17. You're like, what the heck? If they didn't find their soulmate, they die. What? That's weird. That's really weird. That's odd. Especially because usually, I mean, depending on the story, but usually you have some sort of mandatory education that is going on. And so you are kind of locked into place wherever your school is supposed to be. And so if your soulmate is not in the near vicinity of you, then you're kind of screwed. That didn't clip right. Oh dear. I bought a bunch of these in like different colors. And so now I'm trying to use them. Okay. I don't know if that's a little better or not. Anyway. So it says exactly, which is why I hate that very specific trope. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's a very weird, like, premise to have. Like, and also shows in some ways that the writer's world may be very small. Sort of like feeling like they never left town, they never needed to leave town or their county for any reason whatsoever, sort of thing. Which, I mean, for a lot of people is true, but the fact that there is a wider world out there would definitely have an impact on that. And so somebody was not considering that. Anyway, let's get to work, shall we? We're going to start with the flowers because we can. For historical context, 17 is on the young side, but actually most first marriages of the average person were between 20 and 25, while the man was older. Most of the time the man was older, typically about 5 years older. There are exceptions, but that was the rough average. Gotcha. I think that skews a little bit younger for the girls, and potentially a little older for the guys, or maybe younger, depending. I don't know. But like in super like isolated rural locations, tends to skew a little younger for the girls, I think. Okay. Devil has a how to start a story talk starting in about half an hour. So there's a link for that. Monique says, yeah, for context, my grandparents are Filipino. Yeah. Were your grandparents also Catholic at that point? Just out of curiosity. Stacy's like, by the way, for those who are wondering how I know, I am a genealogist. Yes. Yes, yes. We will turn to Stacy for the research. Your parents were 17 and 19, met on a Saturday, and married the following Friday. Mm-hmm. Stayed married until they passed away. Yep. Yes. And sometimes sometimes that young, often in the, well, there are a good number of people who marry very young who stay together. And there are also some that got married young and maybe should not have stayed together, but did. And there are some that just somehow seem to be that perfect couple that makes it through, 40, 50 years of marriage, and are the beacon of hope for romantic hearts. So, they were tenant farmers as well. You don't think married that young is a good thing. In my opinion, it needs to be more 25 to 30. Yeah. I mean, but it's really hard to tell teenagers who are in their hormones and whose brains have not fully developed yet, that their brains haven't fully developed yet and they're just in their hormones. It's really hard to tell them that and have them acknowledge that it is true and not act upon said hormones and immature brain. So, yeah. Oh, well. I don't think we are going to solve that problem between us. So, maybe at some point, that might get solved, but somehow, yeah. Okay. One, let's pull up our document or save it if you already have it open. Two is make sure that you have something to hydrate with. I do have water today. Cheers. Three, straighten your spine. Roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And four is make sure if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. I got about 190 words in the original document. As I said, my brain was not really braining, so I got about yay much on one idea, and then I swapped and I got a page and a third. So we're doing okay. Handwriting seems to help for right now. But I do feel like I may have till the end of this page with just like kind of an idea. And then I may have to switch to a different idea yet. Because this is just like maybe the kernel of a scene. I don't really know. So yeah, that's where we are. We are at least getting something creative down on paper, which is the goal. So, double in Jen. Hello, Jen. How are you? Jen says, I'm good. How about you? I am doing pretty well, other than my brain wanting to work on like 5 different things. But yeah, pretty well. Stacy says, I switched over the laundry, watched part of a video, pulled out dinner, made some lunch, and you opened your document. Fantastic. Multitasking. Amazing. You got 746 words. Nice. That's a great chunk of words. Good job. Diane pulled out a Rolif miniature kit that you bought last year before you moved, and you're going to work on today for fun. Nice. I'm not sure that I'm familiar with Rolif. Is it okay. I think it might be Roloff. But then there's multiple Roloffs. There's a John, and then there's a Friedrich Wilhelm Roloff, which is the older one. So I'm kind of assuming it's probably that one. Is it the like medieval text looking one? Is it this one? Is this the German 18th century? Is that who we're talking about? Because there's also official Rolife DIY. Oh, okay. So it might be more along the lines of these. A library office did you build? Okay, yes. So, okay. So it's more of these. Which these are cute. I like this little A-frame cabin. That's cute. So, ooh, look at the tree house. How fun. Yeah, these look fun. I'm assuming that's what you, yes, real life. Okay, gotcha. Andy is here and says hello. Hello, welcome. Andy is reporting for dawdling. Excellent. Good job. Funky is also here. Hola, hello, welcome. Yes, yes. Diane says, those are it. Yes, excellent. Jen is excited to see Diane and Funky. Your local independent bookstore used to carry the Real Life kits. Had to support her. Nice. Her bookstore is amazing. Excellent. And says hello to Jen. Good, good. Sorry. Did not mean to do so. Okay, let's get back to work. I'm going to swap the banner to Second Sprint. Don't forget, Second Sprint is the promo sprint, so make sure you do your self-promo, writing adjacent stuff in the chat. Also, don't forget to answer the poll. We currently have a tie between two of the romantic conflict tropes that you prefer. So your options of miscommunication or lack of communication, opposing goals or work and life differences, family disapproval or star-crossed lovers, and internal fears and commitment issues. Which of those is your preferred conflict trope of them? Funky is asking, is double N Gen 21? You're now 21, huh? And let's see, Diane says, our bookstore is 4 blocks away. Ooh, and hubby is off this week. You could walk there without poncho. Oh, maybe you could. That'd be nice. Jen says, excited to see Funky? Well, maybe that isn't the word I'd use. Aw. Miss Hunter read about 15 pages. Nice, but got distracted. You're at 486 of 597. Diane is inserting the evil grim. Just turned 21. Yes, right? Monique says, I chose the opposing work or life differences because it applies the most to your novel. Evil and grim. I like it. Yes. Diane's like, Funky. Funky's here? Runs and tackles Funky. Yes, the differences in your goals and your life goals and situations does indeed cause good conflict. Diane is comforting Miss Hunter. You still got 15 pages. Yes, I agree. Your team won, Funky. The Diane post had to be approved. Really? Again? I'm not seeing... I guess I'm not seeing it when it pops up because I have not... Do I have it on live chat? Let's put it on live chat. Okay. Monique says, I don't get why people hate miscommunication so much because miscommunication happens in real life. I do not appreciate miscommunication when it is drawn out past the point of reason. Like I get having some miscommunication, but the constant miscommunication throws up some real red flags for me. Or just refusal to communicate is another. Funky has an evil and grim face, right? Yes. Diane says, I often need to be approved in life before encountered. Oh, the penguins did not, but the hurricanes are close enough, so you'll take it. Gotcha. Anyone over the nights is good for you. Oh, by the way, these prints are about the only ones I look for each week. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate y'all coming and us getting stuff done together. So that is good. Let's do the squashed rubber chickens. Okay. All the sports talk is going over everybody's head. Well, so here's the thing. I am not entirely sure which sport we're talking about because, I know that the FIFA World Cup is going on, but I also know that, I think it was basketball was going on recently. Or the Knicks basketball. I don't even know. But I know there are several different things going on at the same time, but yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what sport, which is really bad because I should know at least some of the basics, right? So, Jen says hockey. Okay, there you go. Thank you. I will. I will maybe look them up and see what we're who teams who teams. Oh my gosh, y'all, I cannot talk today. What is wrong? Okay. We're gonna take the sprint and then we will come back and we will see if Jules can talk then. Okay. Here we go. 1, save your document. 2, make sure you take a sip. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And 4 is if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. We have managed to get a little bit more done, which is great. Put that over there. It took a few minutes to do a little collage thingy with the washi tape set. So I've got a little collage thing with the pre-made pre-cut stickers. So it's cute as a little collage. Was testing that out, and then got another quarter of a page there, and then like 2/3 of a page with a different pen. I really like the way that both of these pens, like the ink flows. So both of these are like the needlepoint type. I don't know how to. The Sharpie, sorry, the black one is a roller ball, and then Pilot Precise V5. I don't actually know what it is, but I feel like they're both needlepoint type pens. Anyway, I like the way that the ink flows in both of them. The only issue is that the grip for these is a little small for me and my handwriting, for my grip. I prefer fat pens because then I feel like I don't have to like try and hold and squeeze. I don't know why. Like smaller diameter instruments make me feel like I have to hold it tighter. Even though like pencils, are some of the smallest things. Anyway, whatever. But you could add grips to your pencils. Whereas these, you can't really, because the cap, you'd have to take the grip on and off, and that feels frustrating. So I love the way the ink flows in these, but I hate writing long term with them. Does anybody have any recommendations for pens that have the same kind of ink flow but don't have a thin barrel? I don't know how to. Anyway, there's my little chaos pen rant for today. Diane was taking Pancho outside, giving him some attention for the sprint. Okay, so the teams we were talking about earlier were hockey, NHL. I mean, hockey players. I mean, how can you go wrong, right? Jen says, I know nothing about other sports. Jen apparently did not watch the finals at all, though. Funky says Jen should have. They were awesome. Jen caught highlights, but your dislike of Carter Hart and Howden is strong right now. Is that like the opposing team who won over your favored team? I'm assuming. I don't know. Bless the Canes fans for doing what they did. Don't know what they did, but I can look it up later. Monique says, got to 1,071 words. Yay! And you're going to go cook lunch. Excellent. Miss Hunter got to page 510. Wow. That feels like it was fast, because I feel like you were just the other day on like 200. So, very nice. Did I ever do my own squealing duck sound? No, I just used the pre-recorded. You went outside with Pancho without your phone, saw a bird you're not familiar with. It's nice out here, by the way, in Kansas. It is currently 83, which is much better than like the 92 that it's been. So I might be able to spend some time outdoors this evening, maybe. Cute for the collage, yes. Chicken timer, yes. They are very much chickens, rubber chickens. You got some work writing done. Excellent. Good. Stacy says, could not figure out how to get back into the story, so you finally just made a break mark and then went back into the scene. You're going to figure out how to merge them later. And so you got 79 words. Excellent. You've had to put grips on and off, and it sucks. I feel for you. Yeah. So it's like, I love the size of the like Papermate ink gels with these big barrels. Love that. And the size difference between the barrels is kind of like, yeah. So maybe this one, because this one I feel more of. I think it's a slightly skinnier than even the Sharpie one. It's just so thin compared. So I don't know. I love the big barrels. What can I say? I just have too many pens. I did toss out a Uniball. What was it the other day? Uniball Air. And that's because I didn't like the way that the ink flowed, and the ink flow changed depending on how you held the pen. And if I'm writing, I do not have consistent pen posture. I don't know what you call it. Because sometimes I hold it like this, and sometimes I hold it like that, and like the angle changes as my hand gets tired, and I change the grip so that I can continue to write. Anyway, so the ink flow was just like a disaster in terms of like long writing sessions with that. I hate it, so I just threw it away. It's like such a petty reason to throw away a pen. It's like it wasn't empty. I was trying to continue to use it until it was empty, but I was just like, I hate this pen. Go away. So, and it was a decent sized barrel, but I just like, I guess I'm just very picky about my pens. I don't know. Funky says, whew, need coffee. Be right back. Excellent. Bring me a cup too, please. I need some caffeine. Stacey says, I'm getting used to a small stylus because you've been writing on your phone. Ooh, but the S pens are very tiny and thin. Yes. Yeah, so I have a little stylus. I've not actually used it a whole lot because it's like one of the cheapo styluses that has like the little thingy on the end. I'd rather just have one of the Apple pens or whatever, but Apple Pencil, Apple Pen, whatever it is. But the phone that I have, the screen is not made for like writing and pressure. So maybe one of these days I will get an iPad at some point. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's very thin around. And also I've seen some that are like the mini, and they like fit into the corner of your like phone or whatever. Yeah, so it comes with a stylus built in, and it's like, you know, super compact and like just fits in there, which is great for convenience, but also tiny, super tiny. The tips are too thin for your liking. Okay. Oh, for these two, you prefer the ballpoint tip, the ink flowing style that you've got. Yeah. So somehow we need to make a perfect pen that has the ink flow of the ballpoint, so that it works the same no matter what angle. Whatever. But I've also seen like people who are just so good and precise at their handwriting that they can do calligraphy with a ballpoint pen, and it's just like, it blows my brain because I I do not have the self-discipline to do that. To have, and that's one of the things that I like. I would love to be able to do calligraphy, but I just do not have the touch, because I will like go hard, and then when I'm supposed to like lighten the pressure, it looks the same. I grip too hard, I press too hard, and my calligraphy all just looks like a 5-year-old did it. So it's unfortunate, but I will continue to try, I am sure. But yeah, my calligraphy just looks like 5-year-old did it. That's all. Okay, we've not done our third one, but it's like 2:50. Let's do a third one, and this will take us over into like about 3:20, 3:25-ish, somewhere in there. Okay, let's do this. Third sprint. Okay. Oh, you're left-handed and it's not, yeah. You need to pull with calligraphy and you push your pen and ink. Yeah, that is true. I feel like I may have seen something for left-handers though. But that still doesn't, it's like you would have to write each line backwards because you wouldn't want to smear the wet ink either. So anyway, let's go ahead and do this. So 1, save your document. 2, make sure you take a sip. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure not slouching too much. And 4 is make sure if you need a break, take a break. Here we go, 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. That was the end of the sprint. I managed to get a total of 634 in the document. So, as well as, so I had like 190 before. And I got another like page. Yeah, another page handwritten. It's hard to see light there. Sort of. There we go. Anyway. Yeah, my intent with this type of notebook is that I write only on one side and then I will turn it and go the other way because some of the ink ghosts a little bit though, so I have to be careful on some of the pages. Anyway, it's fine. It's a cute notebook. I'm trying to use it even though it's cute, so that, like, you know, I don't just continually accumulate notebooks and journals. So Stacy said you had no plans, so I could go for as long as I wanted to. Excellent. Funky and Stacy are both team lefties, as is, I think, let's see. So Bestie that's in Florida is also left-handed. Friend that's in California is also lefty. I think she's more ambidextrous, so I don't actually know which one. Anyway, so yeah, so a lot of, but interestingly enough, a lot of artists that I know are lefties. So AutoCrit is doing a demo of their planning tools on Zoom. If anybody is interested, there's the link for that. Stacy didn't realize that Funky was also part of Team Lefty. And Stacy is also up to 231 words today. Yay! Excellent. Good. Good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do some after dinner, for sure. Miss Hunter just finished your dinner. Excellent. Hopefully it was tasty. Stacy says, the constant dilemma, buying journals because they are cute, but not wanting to use cute journals, right? Yeah. So at the moment, I keep looking at Tifosi just released a couple of designs, particularly the koi fish one is the one that I want, and like the dark blue, because the koi fish just pop so much. It's crazy. They're so pretty. I also still want one of the like cherry blossoms and cat designs from them because it's so cute. But again, like I don't need them because I have journals. I have journals, but I want more, you know. Anyway, Funky says to Stacy, indeed, about the lefties. Makes sense. Stacy says, I'm mainly ambidextrous, but not when you think about what makes you a lefty, eating and writing. You cannot hold a fork in your right hand to save your life. Okay. Do you not switch hands when you cut like meat and things? Because I know some people don't, because that's more European. And so if you grew up with more like European manners in the household, you don't switch hands. Funky says, I would stab myself. Yeah. You cut with knife in your left and then switch hands. Interesting. Okay. You use knife and scissors with your right hand. Okay. Interesting. I don't know. Yeah. I have been told that because my dad was left-handed, but this is during an era where, you know, they got their hands smacked for writing with their left hands. And so he learned to be, and he also broke his arm. So he learned to be right-handed. But he there are certain things that he would always still do left-hand dominant, which would be like baseball bats, axes, which he, as a forester, he used axes a decent amount. And so when we were growing up, I, like, even though my left arm is not strong enough, like, that's how I want to hold the axe. And it's also how I want to hold the tennis racket. And so there are some really odd things that I don't know if it's because I was watching and learning from Dad, and his left-hand dominance, or if that's how it feels. But I've always written right-handed. But yeah, so there's a couple of things that I do left-hand dominant. And I thought about getting a left-handed grip for my bow, my recurve bow, and seeing if that, like, if I could do that, but that's like a whole lot of hassle to switch that. So I never did. But yeah. You bowl and shoot archery with both hands. Nice. Do you have sort of like a neutral grip on the bow then? I guess some of the bows have sort of like a neutral-esque grip. Mine has a right-handed grip, so. Diane says to Stacy, hello. Your grandfather should have been left-handed, and because of that, he could not write in cursive. Yeah, he passed away in December at the age of 95. He made it a good long time. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. That is, but yeah, we were talking about cursive and calligraphy and whatnot. So same problem applies to you in terms of like push versus pull with the ink. Yeah. Diane says my mother was left-handed, and so is my youngest daughter. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's something in our genetics that determines, but which one you're going to get, who knows? And if you break your hand during, learning how to write season of your life, then chances are you've learned to write with whichever hand is not broken. So, yeah. All right. Let's save our documents. File, save. Save. All right. And then we need to end the poll. Stacy says, I found mostly fine motor is left for me and gross motor is right. Some are both. Yeah, which makes sense. And to me, I think a lot of left-handed people tend to develop some amount of ambidextry, if that's a word, ambidextrousness. I think ambidextry better. Some amount of ambidextry because they are living in a mostly right-handed world, and so they just have to learn how to deal. So I find that most lefties are somewhat ambidextrous. Stacy's like, I like ambidextry better too. Yeah, I'm like, I know it's like you describe it as an adjective as ambidextrous, but if you are wanting to make it a noun form of ambidexterity. Oh no, we were close. We're close. Ambidexterity. I still think I like ambidextry better. You can use the form ambidexter as well to refer to the person. Okay, he's an ambidexter. I still think I like ambidextry better than ambidexterity. It's too long. It's too long. Funky says, I only learned scissors because of, yeah, because you broke your arm. Yeah, your hand or your arm. Still kind of awkward. Yeah. Some things are just not, you just can't do them left-handed. Yeah, and especially when everything is built for a right-handed person. Mugs are typically built for a right-handed person, so the design faces one way or the other. Desks, the way you get in, the way you write, you know, there would always be like one or two lefty desks, and you know, all that kind of stuff. You do use your mouse with your left hand, which weirds people out. Yes, because then your right click becomes your pointer click essentially, and so you have to like reverse it in your brain. If you are a right-handed person, you have to like figure out how that would work. Whereas, you know, scissors were only ever right-handed. Yes, although they do occasionally make left-handed scissors now, but they're like, you know, more expensive and hard to find and all that. So, all right. Stacy says, I grew up with left-handed scissors when I was growing up. Yeah, so it's like I know they're a thing, but I know that they were very rare. So, yeah, teachers never had it. Yeah, because they disappeared. They disappeared, 100%. And I, you know, just hope and pray that they disappeared to a left-handed kid and stayed with them for the rest of their school career. You know, that's all I can hope. And because there were so few left-handed desks, you learned how to write parallel. Yeah, it was always like Bestie wrote at like a 45, like her paper was at a 45-degree angle, so she was writing up essentially, and she always had schmear on her hand, always. Or I should say left hand, this side, she always had schmear. It was weird. Yeah. Oh well. Unfortunately, you are the minority. Everything else around you caters to the majority. It's a struggle. It sucks. Even for as small a thing as left-handedness, and for other things it sucks even more. But yeah, you use your mouse left click and click the right click with your pointer. Yeah, you don't even bother. No, most people don't. Most lefties don't, from what I understand. My aunt has the same thing, and she's like, yeah, I just use it as it is, but with different fingers. You actually write towards you. I'm trying to remember. If she wrote, well, she would still have to write up because she's, yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I would think that right-handers would write away from themselves. Yeah. But she would just, like, she always had a crook in her, that's what I'm remembering. She always had a crook in her wrist because she would be writing, like, up the page away from her. But her hand would be crooked because, yeah, I don't know. In Arabic, you write from right to left, which would be great for lefties. Funky says, in Arabic, I would struggle. I think you would, if you learned the language, I think you would struggle less because it would be more of a natural writing. I don't know. We'll see. Don't know. You don't think about how you use the mouse because when you do, you screw it up. Yeah, you just have to go by instinct, essentially. Yeah. I did have the smear problem as a right hand. Yeah. Well, I mean, generally, if you write with pen that doesn't dry, or you write with pencil and the lead, like, you know, smears everywhere. It just happens. It just happens. Your dad and your brother are lefties as well. Nice. Lots of lefties. Lots I think there's a lot more than there quote unquote used to be, because I think the lefties used to get punished for being lefties, and so they just became ambidextrous and or used their right hand because they were smacked. Whatever. I don't know. So yeah, so I think there's more than we used to think about there being. So okay, so we do have an answer for the poll. We do have a winner. So the romantic conflict trope that we most prefer out of the 4 options, 45% said opposing goals, work, or life differences, followed by 33% the family disapproval or star-crossed love, 22% the miscommunication or the lack of communication, and nobody clicked internal fears or commitment issues. Good to know. Good to know. One of the reasons you turned your paper completely sideways was to avoid the smear as much as possible. Yeah. Your in-laws have a left-handed child in each family of the husband's siblings. Yes. Yeah. Stacy says, you mentioned mugs. I tend to hold it in my right so I can still write with my left, which is great because then you can multitask. Whereas a lot of us right-handed weak people, I guess we would have to hold the mug in our left in order to continue to write. But yeah. Yeah. All right, let's save our document one more time. And I will see y'all on Wednesday. Don't forget, I'm not going to be here on Friday because I'm going to go have a bookstore date with Bestie. So I will see y'all on Wednesday. All right, bye.